Hi, friends. I'm Scott Giles, and welcome to Power Talk, my podcast here on Facebook Live and YouTube. I cover topics related to hypnotic coaching, the hypnotic arts and sciences in general, and spirituality. If you'd like to know more about my professional work or sign up for my free newsletter, Power Lines, check out my website, which I'll tag at the end of this video. Well, today I'd like to talk about a political and philosophical theory called anarchy. The graphics on the thumbnail for this podcast are the two best known symbols for this theory, the black flag and the circle A. The latter is a symbol that is quite old, although much popularized in our time by the TV show about a motorcycle club called the Sons of Anarchy. The A represents the Greek word anarchia, or without ruler, and the circle represents the O for order. It comes from a book published in 1840 by Pierre Joseph Proudhon titled What is Property? The quote is, "As man seeks justice and equality, so society seeks order in anarchy." Now, when most people today hear the word anarchy spoken, they think it means chaos or the social system described by philosopher Thomas Hobbes in his 1651 book, The Leviathan, where he describes the state of nature as solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short, a literal war of all against all. But the reality is that anarchy doesn't actually mean that at all historically. It's actually an optimistic and benign philosophy. Basically, just that people tend to do better if there's no central authority telling them what to do. The conviction is that if you just leave people alone, they will spontaneously form self-organizing groups of like-minded people. The claim is that the balance of justice over injustice, pleasure over pain, will be better in such groups than in situations where people are told what to do. Anarchy means that the best sort of government would be a voluntary free society. Well, the roots of anarchy go back to ancient Greece because the original Greek city-states were exactly this sort of society. Key thinkers of the time, like Socrates, were very skeptical about centralized government, religion, or authority. The Stoic philosophers absorbed much of this view. We even see this in Greek plays such as Antigone by Sophocles, where a young woman acts in accordance with her own conscience in defiance of the rules set by the king. Now, there have been a number of anarchist philosophers over the years, but probably the best known was a Jewish woman from Eastern Europe named Emma Goldman, who lived from 1869 and died in 1940. She became disenchanted with government during the Haymarket riots in Chicago, a famous labor dispute, and set herself up as a lecturer and author. She was also an advocate for free love, which in that time simply meant that women weren't being told who they could have a relationship with. And she advocated for female empowerment during her time when she denounced the laws that said women couldn't vote or own property. She was a colleague of Margaret Sanger, and with her helped birth control become available. And she was frequently arrested under the Comstock Law because at the time birth control was illegal. She was very much a free thinker. While shocking in her time, in our time, where contraception is common, where women can vote and own property, and ideas can be spread rapidly in digital form independent of the government communication networks, we really see that she was just kind of ahead of her time. In fact, the American Civil Liberties Union claims her as one of the thinkers that inspired their creation. Well, in 1901, an assassin named Leon Kosalskis shot President William McKinley in Buffalo, New York. He claimed to have been inspired by Emma Goldman, although no actual connection between them has ever been found, but that didn't matter. She was arrested. Eventually, she was released from prison for her thought crime, and then she proceeded to oppose the military draft in the run up to World War I and was arrested for that and would spend 2 years in prison. She was later deported, although after her death, her body was returned to the United States and buried in Forest Home Cemetery here in Illinois, near the bodies of the people who were executed for their role in the Haymarket riots. I've actually seen her grave. So why do I care? Mostly because I do think there is something to the philosophical anarchist idea. If you just leave people alone, they will often figure out the best way to do things. And in fact, in management consulting these days, one of the big words is self-organizing groups. Well, that's the principle of anarchy. Back when I was in college, there was a popular book titled Small is Beautiful, published in 1973 by a British economist, E.F. Schumacher. Basically, his idea is that the bigger things get, the more corrupt they are likely to become. Think about that. Small companies founded by people of principle, based on healthy values, become big multinational corporations that don't give a damn about anything except money. A hospital founded by an order of ethical persons or physicians and other healing professionals grows into a hospital corporation run by bean counters that care only about charging every cent the traffic will bear. A religion intended to foster peace grows into a denomination where its officers only care about their own income or perks, the size of their private jets, and are willing to abuse children apparently for their own pleasure. The bigger things get, the more corrupt they are likely to become. That is an anarchical idea. Now, I know the idea of anarchy is impractical once things get more complicated than an ancient city-state or smaller structures. But can anyone deny that a world of megacorporations and relentless capitalism has done anything other but bring us to the brink of ruin? So perhaps smaller is better as far as we can manage that. And the idea of leaving people alone and trusting them to figure out what is best isn't such a bad idea. My 2 cents anyway. Hey, thank you for your time and attention today. I'll be back next week with another talk on a different subject. I'd like to invite you to join me. It does help me if you let others know about my work, so please like, share, and subscribe. And if I can be of help to you, feel free to reach out through email, my website, or my Patreon channel, and have a great week.